Sports Illustrated believes that Raiders quarterback Aidan OConnell deserves a mulligan week 1 against the Chargers. I saw this article go out there and I said, you know what? I got to be able to give my 2 cents. I want to be able to give my take on this because I know Aidan was the Raiders quarterback that is returning for another year. But my question to the nation is this, because when I see mulligan, that tells me that SI is saying that Aidan OConnell deserves to start week 1 for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I want every single person from the nation, if you bleed silver and black, let me know down below. Give me a yes or no. Does Aidan OConnell deserve to start week 1 for the Raiders? Does Aidan OConnell deserve to start week 1 for the Las Vegas Raiders? No, he doesn't deserve. And quite frankly, I think it's a horrible take by Sports Illustrated. I will say this, though. If AOC wins the job this offseason, then yes, he deserves to start. If Gardner Minshew wins the job this offseason, he deserves to start. Like, by them making this article that he deserves a mulligan, that almost just sounds like he just should be handing it to him. I don't think that anything in life should just be handed to you. And quite frankly, I think this mentality of Aidan OConnell deserves to start week 1 is kind of a big problem with our world and our society in today's day and age. Like, what has Aidan done where it has warranted him the opportunity to start week 1? I want a fair battle. I want a competition. I think Antonio Pierce, I think the Raiders, they want an open competition. And if he wins that battle, then guess what? He deserves to start week 1. If you believe that whoever, I don't even care if it's Gardner Bradley, I don't care if it's Anthony Brown, I want the quarterback that gives us the best chance to win out there starting week 1. And whoever ends up winning that battle this offseason, if it's Gardner, if it's AOC, they deserve to start. If you believe in that, I want you to hit that subscribe button. Now, when you look at the Raiders quarterback depth chart, right, you could say that AOC is the quarterback 1. You could say Gardner Minshew is the quarterback 1. They gave Minshew 2 years, $25 million with $15 million guaranteed. Aidan entering his 2nd year into the NFL. He's got Antonio Pierce on his side. He's got a lot of players in that locker room that love this kid. I think everybody from the nation also really does truly love this guy. But coming up here on the show, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why Aidan OConnell doesn't deserve to start week 1. I do want to say this, though, because this is a very, very important thing. I'm not saying that he never deserves to start. I'm simply saying that he has to earn the right to start week 1. Because when I read a title, when I read that he deserves to start week 1, that tells me that you, who made the article, believes that no matter what happens this offseason, he deserves to start week 1. He deserves a mulligan because of the first time he played the Chargers and he got sacked 6 times. That's not how reality works. So here's why Aidan OConnell doesn't deserve to start, at least right now. If he earns the job, then hell yeah, he deserves to start week 1. The Raiders signed Gardner Minshew. One of the things that Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco, this entire Raiders team has been preaching all offseason is competition. If you have competition at the quarterback spot, that's going to bleed down. That's going to just filter down to all the other positions. And competition creates iron sharpens iron. That's what this organization wants. And we got to put more respect on Gardner Minshew's name. I know the nation loves AOC, and I get it, right? You guys are rocking with AOC the same way you rock with DC because once you're rocking the shield, that's your guy. But Minshew also does deserve his own flowers. The year he had last season with the Indianapolis Colts, a team that, quite frankly, was not a good team at all, a team that wasn't even built around him, a team that's dealing with a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, a lot of new, was still able to do a solid job. Plus, Gardner Minshew, his first few seasons in the NFL, thought he did a halfway decent job. Plus, he's been battling with different head coaches. He's been battling with different offensive coordinators. He has had an uphill battle himself. And, when you look at the entirety of Minshew's career, I think because his name is Gardner Minshew, and I think because he's, kind of a weirdo, people don't put the respect on him. But you know what? If his name was Trevor Lawrence, the nation would. And I know I've shown this stat graphic a lot. I know I've shown this in general. You've probably seen it out there before. But Minshew does deserve a lot more respect. So the idea of that Aidan OConnell just deserves to start week one, I don't think is the right mentality that the Raiders, that Antonio Pierce want to put out there because, I mean, you shouldn't just hand over anything to anybody in life just because they deserve it. They have to go out there and you have to earn it. And Aidan did have a good rookie season, and people are fired up from Aidan's rookie season. But then, let's also look at what Gardner Minshew did his rookie season. And, what I don't want to happen is I want to see Aidan reach the highest of his potential. I want Gardner Minshew to reach his highest of potential. And the way that you're going to do that in a brand new offense underneath Luke Getsy is if you go out and you allow those guys to go out there and compete. And 2023, last season, the yards per game, sure, they have that advantage for Aidan. But also when you look at wins and losses, which a lot of times is what you look at from the quarterback position, Gardner Minshew was better. Quite frankly, I think at times on a worse offensive football team. Better QBR, won the head-to-head matchup. Yeah, lower touchdowns, but the interception ratio was a little bit lower. My big point of making this show was I hate and I am sick and tired of this idea that the Raiders should just make Gardner Minshew the backup, and they should just make Aidan OConnell the starting quarterback. No, they shouldn't. We are in middle of July. Why would we name a starting quarterback right now? It doesn't make any sense. Let's go to the next reason here of why AOC doesn't deserve to start right now. QB play has been bad this offseason. How are you going to say that Aidan OConnell deserves to start week one when all the reports that we've seen are don't get me wrong, he's got a leg up on the competition, but we have yet to get a single report this offseason. I feel like that gives us, as Raider fans, a lot of confidence in our quarterback room. I mean, this is what Vic Tafur said literally this week. Neither Aidan OConnell nor Gardner Minshew looked very sharp at last month's minicamp. On one hand, the Raiders are installing a new offense, so growing pains are expected. On the other hand, there's no hard contact, and the defense is not going full speed, so it shouldn't be hard to hit an open receiver. The fact that one of the guys who's actually at the practice is saying that our quarterbacks are having a hard time hitting open receivers, that is alarming to me. And he's not the only one that has put out these reports out into the universe. I mean, Tashawn Reed also said on the Raiders quarterback situation this offseason, both Aidan OConnell and Gardner Minshew struggled during OTAs. They split snaps with the first string fairly evenly, but neither found much success during the practices that were open to the reporters. So, how are you going to just say, okay, even though we haven't seen anything great from both of our quarterbacks, Aidan OConnell deserves to start? Because the only reason why you're saying that Aidan OConnell deserves to start is because Aidan was on the team last year. But the team last year compared to the team this year is a totally different football team. I got 3 more reasons here of why AOC doesn't deserve to start week one, at least right now. And I'll tell you what those are, but you know what? I do got to give a shout out to the real ones. And, you see a lot of real ones that watch this show live. And a lot of times it's the big super chats, and those are the people that get a lot of the attention, like an OC Raider, a Noah Santana, a Venthrak, a Cameron Abbott, a David Zahn. But also the real ones are the people that are watching this show in the middle of July. The real ones are the people that are battling through Jeremy and I sneezing on this show Friday, Tuesday, battling sickness. But I'm also the person that I'm going to show up on a work day when I'm sick. Why? For the real ones, because it's the day after the 4th of July. I wanted to pull up here. I wanted to have a little bit of fun. And if you don't know what a real one is, real one here at Chat Sports is think about your best friend, right? Think about the people that you would invite to your wedding, the people that you would invite to your bachelor party, the people where if you're in a situation, you can rely on them. When I think of a real one and a real one for life, think of it as Raider Nation for life in one, real one for life together. You combine both of those are my type of people. So if you're yeah, that's me, we got 2 shirts here at the Raiders Report that are for the real ones. You can get your RO4L shirt, or you can get your Raiders Report shirt, which you just saw right here, founded 2018. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/RO4L. Those links are going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Shout out to all the real ones that tuned in to today's stream. Let's go to the next reason here. You got a brand new Luke Getsy offense. I could maybe wrap my idea around if Derek Carr was the Raiders quarterback, and I know, pump the brakes here, or if Aidan OConnell was entering his 3rd year in the Luke Getsy offense, I could maybe understand okay, maybe we should, put the keys in Aidan's benefit a little bit more. But here's the thing. Aidan OConnell's learning a brand new offense. Gardner Minshew is also learning a brand new offense. But like if I have confidence in one person to learn a new offense better, I'm going to have more faith in the veteran, Gardner, who's learned multiple new offenses in his time in the NFL and back in his time in college football. And like this is what Deshaun Reed had to say about the Raiders quarterback situation. The quarterbacks and the rest of the offense are still in the early stages of getting comfortable in coordinator Luke Getsy's offense. Understandably, there have been some growing pains, but it's still troubling that neither O'Connell nor Minshew displayed much progress results-wise by the end of OTAs. And there's going to be a learning curve, right? We have a great defense, and I know that our defense with Patrick Graham, Antonio Pierce, they're progressing much quicker than what our offense is, and there's going to be those growing pains. But then also, if there's a quarterback that has kind of been there, done that, and has had some success in his career, learning new offenses with new head coaches, with offensive coordinators, I mean, Minshew has been able to do it. I actually think it's one of the reasons why the Raiders also brought him in, because of his success with some good GMs, some okay head coaches, just being able to understand how to get a brand new offense, understand it and execute it at a high level, at least for Gardner Minshew. But like, how can you just hand the job to someone when it hasn't been done well thus far? Like, I don't know if anybody out there, like Justin Abjim, Mount Raidermore member, owns his own plumbing company. Are you just going to hand over your keys to your plumbing company to somebody that hasn't, shown you that they're able to be a good plumber? No, I'm not going to do that. And you can't give the job to Minshew either. If I were to see an article out there that says Gardner Minshew deserves to start week 1 against the Chargers, I would do the exact same video, because it's a ludicrous idea to think that anybody, just based on what we've seen in the middle of July, deserves a mulligan, deserves that they get the opportunity to start week 1. The Raiders want competition at the quarterback spot, and damn it, I do too. Why would we ruin the competition that what this Raiders team is building? Like, to me, like, that's what Antonio Pierce is doing. They're kind of crushing this idea of, in the NFL, sometimes guys don't show up to mandatory things, and they kind of take away from a lot of the good fundamental things that I think that you learn up when you're a young kid growing up in sports, where you're there for your teammates, you put the team first, you're not always worried about me. And I know athletes in today's day and age are making a lot of money, and don't get me wrong, so are the owners. Everybody's making money in sports, right? But like, there is that part of me, and maybe I'm a sucker for it, but I'm a sucker for when Jackson Powers Johnson goes, you play for the name on the front, that way they bless you on the back. That's the type of mentality that AP is trying to bring, and just handing the keys, handing the starter job to somebody, it's not doing that, man. Also, Aidan OConnell, he struggled last year, which it's not really all that surprising. He was a rookie in an offense ran by Josh McDaniels, Mick Lombardi, Bo Hardegree, and he did not have the opportunity to succeed. I will admit, if there was an offense that was invented for Aidan OConnell, it's probably the Josh McDaniels offense. And if AOC had this like unbelievable run, I could understand fans being like, that's our guy, that's our guy. If you're just a box score hunter, and this is kind of where, I do get upset at times with some Raider fans, because they're like, look at how good Aidan finished the season last year. Those are people than me that didn't actually watch the games, because there's a lot of empty stats in Aidan's numbers. Now, when you look at O'Connell's numbers with Antonio Pierce last season, in the 9 games coached by AP, 61.5% completion percentage, close to 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I think it's also important to remember, though, that one of those games was a huge fluke with the Los Angeles Chargers in a game that, let's be real, it's one of the weirdest games I've ever seen. So when you look at Aidan O'Connell's stats with Antonio Pierce per game, it comes out to somewhere around 212 yards, 1.2 touchdowns, 0.55 interceptions. If you're like, Mitch, what necessarily does that mean? It comes out to about 3,598 yards, 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, if you were to project those numbers for a 17-game sample size. So, like, my point is this. Aidan O'Connell as a rookie, if he puts up those numbers for an entire year as a rookie, how would you feel? Would you be a little bit more confident him going into year 2? I would be a little bit confident, but I wouldn't be sitting up here saying, that's our guy, that's the dude we need to roll with, because the one thing that I do think fans are forgetting is that Aidan was not good when the game was like very, very close. And if I'm going to hand the keys to the starter, if I'm going to say, all right, this is the guy that I want, I want him to perform when it matters the most. And 2023, last season, in the fourth quarter, in games that the Raiders were either winning or losing by plus or minus 7 points, one possession ball game. Look at the difference of how Aidan played compared to Gardner Minshew, where Minshew played pretty damn well. Aidan really, really struggled when the game was at its most crucial points, which is to be expected by a rookie. And when you look at the strengths and balances of both Aidan and Gardner, like neither of these quarterbacks is going to stick out. So my big point is if Aidan was a baller last season and gave you a lot of reasons to be confident in him going forward, then maybe he would have the upper hand. But to me, this has got to be a 50-50 battle, split right down the middle, because it's just, that's how it is. And my final reason here of why Aidan doesn't deserve to start week 1 unless he actually earns the job, it's just not how life works. Now, don't get me wrong. And we've seen it recently, and this word has been thrown out there, and it's kind of a different situation where nepotism, right? Like, Bronny James gets drafted by the Lakers. Mark Davis is the owner of the Raiders because of Al, which, Al, happy belated birthday. I think it's also this like whole, you have to earn it. And I want Aidan to earn it. I want Gardner Minshew to earn it. I want the Raiders to earn it. I want Antonio Pierce to earn it. I want Jeremy and I to earn everything we get. I want you guys in your life to earn what you get, because then you appreciate it more. If you're somebody that wants participation trophies, I'm probably not the guy for you, man. And if you want to just give Aidan a participation trophy because he was the Raiders quarterback last season and just say that he deserves to start week 1 just because he's the guy on the team last season, I'm sorry, man. It's going to be a tough life. And I don't think you're going to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So in conclusion, the reason why I'm making this show is the quarterback shouldn't be decided until probably week 1. Like if I'm the Raiders, I legitimately want them to decide who's going to be your starting quarterback after training camp, after the preseason. I don't want them to announce a starting quarterback until they absolutely have to. Make Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers prep for both guys. Nobody deserves to start week 1. You got to earn that job. And like O'Connell has never shielded away from competition. Why are we starting now? He was the 8th stringer at Purdue. He was a 3rd string quarterback last season. He's been doubted his entire life. I bet you if you asked Aidan, do you just want to be given the job? He probably would say no. And if you want Aidan O'Connell to be great, for all those people out there, DeMokes, I'm looking at you. Hell, I want Aidan O'Connell to win MVP. I'm going to be $5,000 richer. But like, handing him the job isn't the way to do it. And if you want Aidan to be great, if we want Aidan to be the franchise quarterback, you don't just name him the week 1 starter. You make him go out there and earn it in training camp. You go out there and you make him earn it in the preseason. Because if he impresses us in preseason this year the way that he did last year, guess what? I'm going to be like, you know what? Let's get Aidan the football. Let's get him out there week 1 and let's cook the Chargers. I want the best quarterback to start for the Raiders. Nobody deserves it. Not Aidan, not Gardner Minshew. If you prove it after July, you prove it after August, then that person deserves to be the week 1 starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders.